for more, I'm joined here in the studio by our international affairs commentator, Douglas Herbert. Doug, can you first just tell us more about what Memorial is and what it does?
Yeah, well, first of all, Memorial came about right after the Soviet collapse in the early 90s, and it was a period which it's hard to believe it ever existed now in modern-day Russia before Putin rose to power, a period in which you had free expression, in which you had a flurry of searches for historical truth, historical fact-finding, a lot of criticism, dissent, a flourishing free press with tons of publications. Memorial was, if you will, the flag bearer of this new period of sort of open and free expression. And what it did is it had two sort of mandates, because Memorial's a vast organization. It's under an umbrella called International Memorial, and what it includes is regional branches throughout cities all across Russia, but also a prominent Memorial Human Rights Center in Moscow. What it did basically is, on the historical front, it memorialized and chronicled all of the crimes, the horrors, the atrocities of the Soviet era, most notably the Stalinist era, looking for the prisoners of the Gulag camps, those forced camps, labor camps that millions were sent to and died in and perished in, listed their names, memorialized them, also looked for crimes during the so-called Great Terror that preceded Stalin. But more than that, it was also a human rights center for modern-day Russia, basically chronicling, compiling lists of political prisoners in Russia, looking at human rights violations, keeping tabs on the human rights record in Russia, with the war in Chechnya, notably, under Boris Yeltsin, the previous president before Putin, also crimes and atrocities in Chechnya, in Ukraine as well. And all of these tasks together sort of have made it more and more a target in the Putin era, which is seen more and more, as you said, a crackdown on independent thought. Some see this as perhaps this case is symbolic of the culmination of that crackdown on independent thought, free expression in Putin's Russia, the targeting of anyone who dares to criticize or dissent against the Kremlin and the official line, whether it be religious minorities, whether it be journalists, whether it be human rights groups, whether it be NGOs. The list goes on and on.
And it's been brought to court under this controversial foreign agents law, but what exactly is it being accused of?
Of being a foreign agent. And it's exactly that. It sounds absurd when you say it in English. The term in Russian is иностранный агент, foreign agent. And it's literally that. It's this notion. It was a law that was passed in 2012, signed by Vladimir Putin into law in July of that year. What it essentially does is it designates any organization that gets funding from a foreign source, from abroad, in any shape or form, as a foreign agent. But beyond just the label of foreign agent, it forces those organizations in anything they say or do to publish a big disclaimer saying that they're a foreign agent. So if Memorial tweets something, or if any NGO that is designated a foreign agent, it's not just NGOs. Like I said, journalistic publications can be deemed a foreign agent, religious minorities, any NGO. They have to publish it in the tweet. You know, a tweet's 240 characters. So it basically takes up the whole tweet, and it defeats the purpose of trying to spread information. A lot of people say it has very dark connotations, this foreign agent law, to darker eras, enemy of the people in the Soviet era. But it also goes back to the Cold War sort of links to foreign espionage. When you say it in Russian, it sounds very sinister, very dark. Anyone who has to have that label all of a sudden is seen as doing something very dodgy and shady. The reality with Memorial, and it is the reality factually, is that many Russians see it, and many outsiders see it as, in the words of a big Moscow Writers Association, as a national treasure of enormous moral, historical, and legal significance. As Memorial goes, if it is shut down, Russia will be basically bereft of perhaps its most prominent voice in both seeking truth about the crimes of the past and the Stalinist crimes, which Vladimir Putin has tended to downplay, to minimize, and also in keeping track of exactly what is going on in Russia on the human rights front.
All right, Doug, thank you very much for that analysis. You'll, of course, be following that verdict for us when we get it later on today.
Yeah.